Welcome to ABC Interactive English. I'm Nina.
And I'm Matt. And today we are looking at part 2 of our article called Student Experiments in Space.
Ooh, that reminds me. What do you think it would feel like living on the moon? Do you think that's possible?
I think it'd be very difficult. I mean, first you need air to breathe. You need food to eat, and also you need to have water. So I don't know if people could live on the moon.
Well, actually, scientists have said that it could be possible in a few decades. For oxygen, at first we could send it from Earth, but eventually you can actually get it from moon rocks because there is oxygen inside the rocks. And for food, we could set up greenhouses, and for water, we could get the ice from moon's pole.
Okay, so we can actually grow vegetables in greenhouses on the moon, and then eat the vegetables or feed it to animals that we can eat.
Maybe.
Space pigs.
That would be cool.
All right, well, so I guess it is possible, maybe will be possible, and part of the way it's becoming more and more possible is by doing experiments in space at places like the International Space Station.
Yes.
So we're going to learn a bit more about experiments that are being done in space when we get into today's article.
In April 2025, NASA and SpaceX sent the SpaceX Dragon to the ISS. In addition to over 6,000 pounds of supplies, it carried 30 experiments. One experiment is from Portland State University. It'll see if tiny life can exist in space.
Okay, now let's get into part 2 of student experiments in space.
All right. In April 2025, NASA and SpaceX sent the SpaceX Dragon to the ISS. So the ISS again means International Space Station. And so NASA is now working with SpaceX, which is a company which builds rockets and spaceships. And NASA is using their spaceship, the SpaceX Dragon, to go to the International Space Station.
Oh, sounds really cool. In addition to over 6,000 pounds of supplies, it carried 30 experiments. Okay, so I bet some of these experiments belong to some students, huh? That would be very cool. So 6,000 pounds of supplies. So pounds is a unit for measuring weight, and it's about 0.45 kilograms. So for example, this bag of rice is 5 pounds.
Yeah, pounds are mostly what people use in the United States for weight, whereas most other countries in the world use kilograms. But do you know what? In Canada, where I'm from, we officially use kilograms for weight. But if you ask anyone, most people don't know their own body weight in kilograms, and they only know their body weight in pounds.
That's very interesting. So when you have a scale, does it usually just show in pounds?
Well, usually you have the option to switch it on a digital scale, and most people would use pounds, even though on any official thing like your driver's license, it will say kilograms.
That's interesting. What about at school? What unit do you learn or primarily use?
I guess we learn metric system, which is kilograms and meters. We learn that in school, but we also usually know pounds as well, and pounds and also feet and inches for our height.
Okay, well that's what happens when you're so close to America. Anyways, let's go to Tina and then learn more about this.
Hi, I'm Tina. 我们来看一下刚刚课文里提到的单字跟文法重点。首先来看看单字的部分。Pound, pound 名词磅。My cat weighs 10 pounds. 我的猫重10磅。 weight 指的是称什么的重量。我们再来看一下文法重点哦。刚刚课文提到了 in addition to 除了什么之外 ，addition 是附加的意思。我们来看看这个例句 ：In addition to English, Ivy speaks Japanese。除了英文之外 ，Ivy 还会说日文。接着我们回到课文当中。
Thanks, Tina. Now let's get back to this article. One experiment is from Portland State University. So that's one of those 30 experiments that were on this SpaceX spaceship that went to the ISS.
Okay, so they indeed used an experiment or more than one experiment from university students. So it'll see if tiny life can exist in space. Okay, so the experiment will see if a small life or tiny life, maybe an insect, a cockroach or whatever, can exist in space. Ooh, I think cockroaches could probably survive anything.
Well, life can be much smaller than even insects.
Yes, that's true.
When we talk about something that's tiny, it just means very small or extremely small. So tiny life could be something small like an insect, but it could also be something that is so small that you can't even see it. So there are kinds of life and living things that are very, very tiny, meaning very, very, very small.
Yes, so they want to see if these tiny lives can exist in space. Exist means to be real or to live. So they want to see if these tiny lives can live in space. For example, dinosaurs no longer exist.
All right, so I think, yeah, they're looking at microscopic, meaning very small, that you can't see it. You need a microscope to see life that, to see if it could survive in space without, air, without all the things that most things need to live.
Yeah.
Okay, let's cut to Tina now.
我们来看一下刚刚课文里提到的单字 tiny 形容词微小的 The baby has tiny hands 那个婴儿有小小的手 exist 动词存在 Jack believes that ghosts exist Jack 相信鬼的存在接着我们回到课文当中
Okay, so we've just learned that NASA is now working with SpaceX to send not only lots of equipment, but also experiments to the International Space Station, the International Space Station. So we're going to learn a bit more about this when we come back after this break.
All right, see you later.
Another one is from the U.S. Air Force Academy. It'll see how special tomato plants grow in microgravity. The information from these experiments will help people on Earth. It'll also help astronauts on the ISS and future missions to the Moon and Mars.
Okay, welcome back. Now let's get back into the article.
All right, before the break, we mentioned that one university was sending their experiment about tiny lives surviving in space, and here we have another. Another one, so another experiment, is from the U.S. Air Force Academy. So that is another school, but it's also where students will learn to become part of the Air Force. So it's part of the American military, but it's also a school.
Okay. It'll see how special tomato plants grow in microgravity. Okay, so this academy also has an experiment that will find out if this tomato plant can grow in microgravity, which would be helpful for us if we ever went to space, right?
That's right. So microgravity means very micro, when added to something, means very small. So microgravity means the gravity is not like it is here on Earth. If you were under microgravity, your body would be very light and you could jump very high because gravity isn't very strong. All right, let's cut to Tina.
文法的部分，课文前面提到了 one experiment is from， 后面的课文呢，则是提到了 another one is from， 所以我们来介绍一下这个用法哦。One, another one， 一个，另一个。第一个 one 是形容词，第二个 one 是代名词。Another 指的是非限定范围的另一个的。我们来看看这个例句。One cat in the store is black, another one is white. 店里一只猫是黑色的，另一只是白色的。接着我们回到课文当中。
Okay, thank you, Tina. Now let's get back into the article.
The information from these experiments will help people on Earth. So this information that you learn from doing experiments in space, some of this information can be used on Earth to help people here.
It'll also help astronauts on the ISS and future missions to the moon and Mars. Yes, if we can find out how to maybe have tomatoes in microgravity, I think that would definitely help the astronauts in the future.
That's right. Those on the International Space Station could really make their salads a little nicer with some tomatoes in them.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, so we're talking about future missions, and future is an adjective in this case, which means at any time after now. So after the time it is being spoken or written, it means it's a time after that. So the future is always things that have not happened yet, and when we're talking about the future, we're talking about things that maybe we plan to happen or we hope to happen, but we really can never know what will happen in the future.
Yes, and as future mission, a mission is an important job or task to do. For example, the firefighters' mission is to save people. And our mission is to help you learn English.
All right. Well, so they're going to be using these experiments to help them out for future missions to the moon and even Mars. So that's very exciting to think about the chance of people going to Mars.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, let's go to Tina now to learn a little more.
我们来看一下刚刚课文里提到的单字。Future, 形容词，将来的，往后的。Future scientists will find new ways to protect the Earth. 未来的科学家将找到保护地球的新方法。Mission, 名词，任务。The astronauts' mission is to explore Mars. 那位太空人的任务是探索火星。Explore 指的是探索。Astronaut 是太空人。接着我们回到课文当中。
Okay, thank you, Tina. So now we've learned that NASA will use some of university students' experiment projects, as well as one from the US Air Force Academy, and we'll learn more things that will help astronauts in the future. So let's end it today, and we will learn more about this next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.
In April 2025, NASA and SpaceX sent the SpaceX Dragon to the ISS. In addition to over 6,000 pounds of supplies, it carried 30 experiments. One experiment is from Portland State University. It'll see if tiny life can exist in space. Another one is from the US Air Force Academy. It'll see how special tomato plants grow in microgravity. The information from these experiments will help people on Earth. It'll also help astronauts on the ISS and future missions to the Moon and Mars.
我们来复习一下这一课的重点单字跟文法。单字的部分 ，pound 名词，磅 ；tiny 形容词，微小的 ；exist 动词，存在。Future 形容词，将来的，往后的。Mission 名词，任务。接着我们来看文法的部分。In addition to 除了什么之外 ，In addition to us, there were 12 guests at Julia's dinner. 除了我们之外，还有12个人出席 Julia 的晚宴。One, another one, 一个，另一个。One place on my bucket list is Venice. Another one is Machu Picchu. 我梦想清单上的一个地方是威尼斯，另一个是马丘比丘。以上就是这一课的重点单字跟文法，那我们下一课再见，拜拜。
Hey, 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 it's KiWi on the street. I'm Kiki.
And I'm Winnie.
And today it's time for another episode of Fear Box. Are you ready, Winnie?
As ready as I'll ever be.
This doesn't get any easier. Careful.
What is that? Why is it sticky?
Sticky?
I don't know, like rubbery. Ew, what is that? Ew, why is it like weirdy? What is this? It's rubbery. It's flimsy and floppy. Huh? I don't know what this is. I have no idea.
What? Do you feel a shape?
Wait, what is this? Is that a bat? Is it a bat?
Yeah, it's a rubber bat.
No, okay. It is not Halloween, so put that away. Well, that's all we have for today. Our friend Dracula, Morty, has something to say.
Follow us on Instagram. Send us a DM or an email if there's something you want to say in English, but you just don't know how. Kiki, is there anything else you want to say?
Time to fly away, Morty.
Kiwi!